Coming up on Hawkeye Sports Report, the football team came up just short against Iowa State. They look to rebound as another in-state opponent heads to Kinnick Stadium this weekend. We'll hear from coaches and players in just a moment. And the soccer team's early season domination continues. Sophomore Chloe Lacoste is a big reason for the success. Her and her teammates explain just what's clicking. And the volleyball team earned another couple wins over the weekend. Head coach Sharon Dingman will be in studio coming up. Hawkeye Sports Report starts now. Hello everyone and welcome to another week of Hawkeye Sports Report. The fall sports season is in full swing for plenty of teams. Plenty of Hawkeye action ahead. We start with football. Plenty of unknowns coming into the season for Coach Ferentz and his team. And after taking one on the chin this past weekend to rival Iowa State, it's back to the drawing board for players and coaches as they prepare for yet another in-state matchup this weekend.
Certainly, a tough loss on Saturday, and we came in, looked at it on Sunday, and made our corrections, and we've moved on now to UNI, and had to move fast. UNI's got an excellent football team, really since Coach Farley's been there, and going back even further than that. But they've done a great job under Coach Farley over 12 years, and they've got an excellent plan, excellent players. Those guys do a good job, and I think all you have to do is look back to the 09 game when we played them. I don't know that we played anybody during the course of that season that played any harder than they do, and that's exactly what you see on their film from last year or this year.
Once again, I can't believe, get on the football, jump on it, game over, Hawks win.
I mean, because it's how it's got to be. That's how it is. Offensive football, I mean, it kind of, I'm the guy throwing the ball around. I'm the one getting us in and out of plays, and I got to do a better job. We got to be able to get the ball down the field and get the ball into the end zone when we get those few opportunities in the red zone.
I don't know if it's just having to go out there and do it, getting that confidence that we can do it. Doing it in practice is one thing, and a game is a whole other situation. There's a whole other set of nerves and pressure you're dealing with. So, I think we got to get guys to loosen up a little bit and go out there and just have a little bit more fun. And, we're all out here to have fun. It doesn't have to be life or death. So maybe we just need to get back to the basics of enjoying what we're doing.
They're a good team. Obviously they had a close game against Wisconsin. I've been watching a little tape on them, and they got electric players. They got good backs, a bigger back, a smaller back, quick guy. They got good receivers catch the ball, and a quarterback back there that can really throw the ball. So offense standpoint, they're a really productive team, and going to be really good this week to try to contain them and not allow them to have big plays.
We now welcome in Hawkeye Radio Network's Rob Brooks. And Rob, Iowa fell a little bit short against Iowa State on Saturday. UNI comes to town now. Biggest question a lot of people are asking, where has the offense gone?
We've got to find that end zone. There is no doubt about that. The Hawkeyes have done a good job kicking field goals, but certainly have had some problems in the red zone. And I think it kind of just goes back to what Kirk Ferentz alluded to on Tuesday, is just the confidence and trying to get the offensive group in sync. It starts at the offensive line. I think that unit performed much better against Iowa State than maybe the previous week. And then now it's about James Vandenberg and the receivers. And you talk about confidence, and that's certainly a fleeting thing in athletics. If you drop a pass or throw a bad one, if you miss a jump shot, and if you're 0 for 8 at the plate in baseball, you start to press a little bit. And maybe that's what the Hawkeye offense is doing. And that just comes natural in athletics, I think. When a couple bad things happen, you start to think about it and trying to make a play, and you think too much and try to do too much. And I think that sometimes comes into the play of the Hawkeye offense. And I think exactly what they need is just 2 or 3 good series, point production, get in the end zone, and just kind of get that tempo rolling.
And I think one of the biggest things that Coach Ferentz mentioned earlier in the week is that he did think that James is pressing too much, and he's putting a little too much pressure on himself. Do you see that?
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what we're talking about as far as in athletics in general. If you don't have a comfort level, things can be pretty difficult. And I think if you have a couple of drops and you're the quarterback, how much confidence do you have in that particular receiver? And then you start to thread the needle a little bit, or maybe somebody isn't quite as open as you might think they should be. You try to throw it in there, and that's what it is. It's just pressing at a particular time. And going back to what we just talked about, I think that's where you kind of look at it and say, hey, a couple good drives, some good things happen, you get off to a good start, and you kind of forget about those negative things of the past couple of weeks.
Yep, and one unit that did look relaxed in that second half especially was the defense, and the defense continues to be a bright spot here for this team.
Yeah, and I talked to Kirk Ferentz at halftime of the Iowa State game. He mentioned that they needed to tackle better leverage in the second half, and play with more confidence, and that's exactly what we saw out of the Hawkeye defense. I mean, when you talk about a 9-6 football game, Yeah, there weren't a lot of offensive highlights, but there were some tremendous defensive plays. That hit that Micah Hyde had inside the 10-yard line, that was about 10 yards from me. I mean, that was as vicious a hit as you will find, and of course what James Morris did in intercepting that pass and giving Iowa a chance, and Tom Donatel with his interception. Big play by the defensive line. Joe Gaglione's just been terrific. So I think as you look at the defense right now, people have to be ecstatic of where they are versus what they thought they might be in this summer.
Everybody remembers 2009. It was UNI came in here, gave Iowa everything they could handle. They just went up recently to Madison and gave the Wisconsin Badgers everything that they can handle. These guys aren't going to be scared by coming in here on Saturday.
No, there's no question about it. I tell you, from an FBS to an FCS upper echelon team, there's just not a lot of difference these days. And UNI has certainly been one of the best FCS teams of the Mark Farley era the last 12 years. And, you know, the last 4 games that UNI has played BCS opponents, 3 of them they have lost by only 7 points. A 5-point loss to Wisconsin a couple of weeks ago, and then a 1-point loss, the 2009 game that you mentioned, and then a 1-point loss against Iowa State. So they are right there. And Mark Farley has talked this week about, you know, we look at the Big 10 teams and Big 12 teams, and we want to be able to compete at that level. And there's no question that this program is a confident group, and they'll play anybody, anywhere.
And real quickly, how about a difference maker, something you're looking for that Iowa needs to do on Saturday?
Yeah, I think the offense certainly has to get off to a good start, make some big plays in the passing game, and then the confidence, I think, will come after that. And then defensively, don't allow UNI any big plays. They've got a couple of outstanding wide receivers in Brent Lemaster and David Johnson that are averaging over 26 yards per reception.
Well, it's going to be another wild game in Kinnick as another in-state rival comes to town on Saturday. Rob, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
We'll be right back after this. Welcome back. It was a busy week last week for many Hawkeye athletic teams. Let's hop on this week's Hawkeye Express and take a look at how they fared. Men's and women's cross country competed at the Bradley Open, where Kayla Beatty took first place honors. Iowa took 7 of the top 10 spots in the race. And John Michael Bennett led the men's team with a 4th place finish. The women's golf team also kicked off their fall season with a 5th place finish in Lincoln, Nebraska. Lauren English led the team, finishing in 8th. And the men's golf team also kicked off their fall season, finishing 10th in Minneapolis. Stephen Heim led the way for the Hawks, finishing tied for 29th. And as we mentioned, the football team fell just short, losing 9-6 Saturday. However, the defense continues to impress, and they'll look to continue their early season success moving forward. And field hockey also went 2-1 on the weekend. They were knocked off by 13th-ranked Stanford 3-2 before regrouping and winning 6-0 and 3-0 in their final 2 games of their road trip out west. And the soccer team kept their perfect season alive, winning the Black Knight Classic at Army. They also knocked off St. Louis Wednesday night and remain as the only undefeated team in the Big Ten. And the volleyball team went 2-1 on the weekend in Ames. Alex Lovell and Nikki Daly were both named to the all-tournament team. We're now joined by the head volleyball coach, Sharon Dingman. And Coach Dingman, it was a pretty good weekend in Ames this last weekend, taking 2 or 3 up there in Ames.
It was a good weekend. First, to start off with beating Syracuse in 5, and I think Syracuse is going to prove to be a pretty good player in the Big East. So that's nice to see that we could beat a team from a conference like the Big East, and then to follow that up with another 5-set match against Iowa State just a few hours later. It was pretty incredible and a great performance by our team. You know, we were down 2-0, and it takes a lot of energy to come back from that. So unfortunately, we fell short in the 5th, but I was proud of the fight that we showed.
Talk about this junior class a little bit. You haven't had a lot of seniors over the past couple of years. Now you have this junior class that is absolutely loaded. What kind of spark have they given this team this year?
You know, they're everything we need them to be right now. You know, we want to have our upper class on the floor. I mean, it's what we're going to need in the Big Ten, and you know, they've worked their way into it for sure. So it's been fun. This was our first true recruiting class since when we came to Iowa, and they've had some ups and downs for sure, but this year they are everything that we need from a junior class, and the maturity that they're showing right now is really solid.
I know some of the, Bethany Yeager's been a mainstay in the lineup,
Yeah.
Nikki Daly. Who are some other people that are really stepping up this year, providing a little bit of a spark?
Shantae Thompson certainly is, and I think the biggest thing for Shantae is she's decided that this is very important, and she's going to work like it's important, and every day she works really hard. I mean, she's just at a new level right now that we haven't seen from her since she's been here. So Shantae has really provided us some great leadership and energy on the floor, and then Alex Lovell, even though she started, I think, every match as a freshman, she's certainly matured into really, I think she could be a star as a Big Ten outside hitter. So it's been fun to watch that. And Nikki's really settled into her role and understands the importance of the leadership that she needs to provide as our setter.
Being on the road is something that you're getting accustomed to here early in the season. You head on the road again this weekend, and then you have another 2 matches on the road. Just kind of talk about what's life been like on the road, and how has your team responded to it?
It's been good. I think there's challenges, but there's challenges when you play at home. There's probably more distractions when you play at home. Our road trips have been fun. We got to go to Michigan, and 3 of our players are from the Rochester area when we played at Oakland, so we had great family time, great food, everything. This weekend we're going to Milwaukee, and we've got a couple players from the Milwaukee area. So, the road trips have been fun and been very challenging, and this weekend will certainly prove to probably be the best tournament that we'll be in up until this point.
After reviewing your tournament from this last weekend, what are some things that you can take from that and use moving forward here?
Well, I think we're starting to form an identity that every team looks for at this point in the season. Believe it or not, we're a third of the way through our season already, and I think our identity is starting to take shape, and we saw a lot of that this weekend. And I think our team understands that to put ourselves in a position to win this weekend and then moving into Big Tens, we're just going to have to outwork everybody. And we work really, really hard this weekend. We played hard, and it was fun to see, and we've got some fight and some grit about us, I think, that we've been lacking in the past. So I think that's going to be our identity this year. So that's what we're going to continue to, just play our cards and have that identity and go from there.
Well, best of luck this weekend, and we're looking forward to see you here in a couple weeks in Carver.
Thanks a lot, Nick.
Let's check out this week's Players of the Week. This week's Athletes of the Week are cross-country runner Kayla Beatty and field hockey goalie Murdy McGraw. Beatty was named this week's Big Ten Conference Runner of the Week after bringing home the first title of her collegiate career in a time of 16:44 at the Bradley Open. McGraw was named this week's Big Ten Field Hockey Defensive Player of the Week, coming off 2 shutout performances against Pacific and UC Davis this past weekend. She has 3 shutouts on the season. Welcome back to Hawkeye Sports Report. There was plenty going on last weekend in Iowa City, and the football home openers always means Fry Fest is in full swing. We stopped by to take a look at the sights and sounds that is everything black and gold.
Wow! Make sure you walk past and visit every booth. This is a great day to be a Hawkeye.
How many Tiger Hawk logos do you suppose are in here?
I bet there's close to 25,999.
I have Hawkeye hats, I got t-shirts, everything Hawkeye.
Oh, jerseys and just anything Hawkeye, really.
I got a Hawkeye sign from a place in Davenport, and even made a deal on it. I got it for $50 instead of $60.
It's great. Looks like it's a lot of people here. I'm not a real big sports guy, but if I had to put it out there, I'm a Hawkeye fan. But I got a few things. I don't know about everything, but I'm here to learn too.
You had to go quite some time to be able to collect the words here. It's pretty cool. It's neat.
That goes down with the collectible world. You just never know what's going to be collectible. You know what I mean? That's, we're looking at a chair here, but it is signed by him in great condition.
This week's Play of the Week comes from the field hockey matchup with Pacific. Off the restart, Danny Hemian finds Jessica Barnett in good space. Barnett heads straight for the goal, dumps it off to Kelsey Mitchell, turns around and tries the pop shot. Natalie Cafone is there for the redirect. Ball drops straight in front of her, and she knocks it in the goal with a one-handed backhand. Great ball control there shown by the Hawkeyes. That is this week's Play of the Week.
I think I just picked soccer. Over the years, it was just something that other things kind of fell through, but soccer was always there, a big part of my life. I kind of wanted to stay in the Big Ten. I wanted to get out of Ohio too as well, so I wanted to do something a little different. So I thought Iowa, was a good fit for me. Plus, I had played for Ron a few times before for Olympic development program teams and stuff like that. So I felt really comfortable with him as a coach, and so it just kind of seemed like a no-brainer for me. And yeah, to this day, I'm really, glad with the decision that I made. I'd say that I'm an energetic player. I like to get the ball into space. I like to run onto balls and take them down the end line, get crosses off. I like to use my speed to attack people, and so I think that outside midfielder position is kind of a great fit for me because I'm able to do all those things.
I love how Dana works defensively as a forward, and like I said, last year she scored some game-winning goals, getting on the end of crosses, beating somebody and getting to the end line and having some assists. Dana brings a lot to the table, both as an athlete and also as a student. She is a tremendously hard worker. As far as somebody who represents Iowa well every day, she's awesome.
I'm double majoring in journalism and art with a minor in anthropology, but I've always wanted to be a photojournalist, and so it's kind of why I'm taking art classes as well as majoring in journalism.
When you're a good student, it allows you to come to the field with a free mind and relaxed and ready to work hard on the practice field.
We definitely, want to build off of last year. We made it into the tournament. We want to do that again this year and continue to, improve upon that and, go further in the tournament, make NCAAs. That's our ultimate goal this season.
Welcome back. While most Saturdays are spent by many fans gearing up for tailgating craziness and, of course, the game itself, a tradition that's been going on for many years is a shirts and skin scrimmage by the men's basketball team in Carver Hawkeye Arena. Every Saturday before each home football game, you'll find the team taking the floor. And with plenty of hype beginning to return, the team gave fans a show this past weekend.
Watching some good Iowa basketball.
They have their scrimmage every year before the football games. You get a chance to see the new freshmen and the team work out,
A lot of dunking.
I think they're much more athletic. I think some really good shooters, and they have a lot of size. I think they're really going to compete this year in every game.
I've watched them all summer in primetime league, and they just have good young guys who work good together. They're going to be very good.
Looking great. Looking great. It's going to be a good year. They're going to make the tournament.
And let's wrap up things on Hawkeye Sports Report with a look at where the Hawkeyes will be in action this upcoming weekend. Volleyball heads north to Milwaukee, where they'll be playing 3 games against Pacific, Wisconsin, Milwaukee, and Marquette. Field hockey will have just 1 game this weekend. That game takes place Sunday at noon right here in Iowa City against Albany. Men's golf will also be in action just south of Iowa City in Burlington, where they host the Golf Week Conference Challenge Sunday through Tuesday. And the soccer team opens up Big Ten play this weekend at Illinois. They've opened a lot of eyes early on in the season. However, they know with Big Ten play beginning, things are not going to get any easier.
Well, we take 1 game at a time, so obviously every game's important, but now Big Ten plays pretty much a new conference starting, so yeah, it's a big deal for us. Well, last year for a lot of us, like that was our first Big Ten conference game. I feel like we got more experience this year coming in. Like a lot of us, like Alex Moline, Mel Pickard, like a lot of our guys are older than they were last year, so we know what to do now.
It's good because we went 2 years 9-0. But I wouldn't have never expected to go undefeated until Big Ten. But I think it's going to be really great for us going into Big Ten. Boost our confidence.
Yeah, I think it's something special. I mean, we always just want to win. So, I mean, we don't really think about, like breaking records and stuff. You just go out and compete and, hopefully it goes the right way.
Soccer team's game starts at 3 p.m. Sunday and can be seen on the Big Ten Network. And finally, the football team will be back in action in Kinnick Stadium Saturday. 2:42 will be the kickoff time. That game can also be seen on the Big Ten Network. And thanks for joining us for another edition of Hawkeye Sports Report. Have a great weekend.